Are you ready to get paid?
It's payday. What currency is going in and what currency is coming out? I'm your host, Eric Brown, and with me, the infamous Mike Jones is in the house. What's up, man? It's
Hey,
payday.
Mr. Brown, how are you, man?
Man, it's payday. I'm happy about that. That's for sure.
Every day could be payday.
Yeah, every day's payday, man.
And
for
I
sure.
can't wait to talk about this. This is so cool. Hey, man, I really want to start by saying this. When I am in the presence of other people, I am earning credibility with them, or I am spending my currency for them to get to know me. The more and more I expend currency with them by allowing them to see me and get to know me, when we have currency in this relationship, then it allows us to be able to have more trust and connectivity in the relationship. In those situations where I have no currency with individuals, there is a lack of trust and there is a lack of receptiveness to whatever it is that I am absolutely speaking to them about or working to get them to connect to.
So, Mike, are you saying that it's about setting expectations in order to enhance the communication?
Well, for me, Eric, setting expectations or that approach is not something that I'm really big on. I believe that there is more value in the currency when we begin to establish commitments and promises in the relationship and we keep them. We have integrity with those things. Because when I'm managing my expectations, quite often it means that there is no currency there, and there is a very good likelihood in me managing my expectations, some of which the other individual may not even be aware of. It will damage the currency in the relationship. So I would have you take a step back just for a moment and observe whether or not in your relationships at work or at home that you are managing your expectations of people and damaging the currency or devaluing your currency, or whether or not there is an agreement between you and these individuals and a promise made to deliver that is going to absolutely raise and increase the value of your currency.
So, Mike, what personal, professional examples do we have for this?
Well, currency can be earned in many different ways, Eric. So I can remember when Susan and I were dating, there were some relationships that she and I were aware of where there was a whole lot of gossiping going on in the relationships, people talking about people. And in those relationships, there is an absolute level of distrust or devalued currency because quite often somebody in that relationship is likely walking away wondering, am I the subject of this criticism when I'm not present in the relationship? It's a very valid concern because if we are gaining currency with each other by putting other people down, I would say that that is currency that has been devalued and is not necessarily going to be developing and building relationships based upon valuable currency.
Okay, so if commitments and promises are the key to this, I mean, why do people even go to set expectations? Or why would they break a promise that they made to themselves?
Yeah, and Eric, when I hear you say set expectations,
Yeah.
I can contextualize set expectations around gaining an agreement from someone.
Okay.
Because if we are setting the expectations, not a word that I like to use, but if we are setting the expectations, there clearly has been some discussion around what it is that we are focused on.
Right.
And if we are both in an agreement that we are focused on the same thing and we have an agreement to deliver that, then there is a great possibility that we at least have the basis to create integrity in this relationship, which is going to increase the value of the currency that we exchange between each other.
And that will increase the trust 100%.
Absolutely. The trust is a reason why the
Yeah.
value exists in the currency that you and I are exchanging. So the more and more we work to develop that relationship and have that trust in the relationship, we are constantly increasing the value of the currency that we are exchanging in the relationship as it gets stronger and stronger.
Got it. So every time I guess I've got a promise that I can manage, then I'm going to end up strengthening the currency between us. If it's my expectation of what the person should do, that is lessening or weakening the currency between us.
Yeah. So a great example of that in one of the companies that we have worked with,
Yeah.
Eric, uh, I got called in to coach two different VPs that were managing two different pieces of the business.
Okay.
One was a sales piece, and the other one was a operations piece. Now, these two leaders were not getting along with each other very well, and as a result of that, their teams were not getting along with each other very well. The communication was incredibly poor, and there were a whole lot of management of expectations that were not being met. And as a result of that, it was completely damaging the trust and eroding the effectiveness of this organization. So, as they brought us in to work with them, I started with these two leaders, and we got off of expectations and made some very specific promises and agreements to deliver in a very specific way. As a result of them truly being committed and emerging themselves in this communicative process, the relationship between the two of them improved. The value of the currency that they were selling from operations to sales and from sales to operations absolutely increased in value. As the members of their team observed this increase in their positive communication, and how they chose to deal with each other, the conversations that they were having with their individual teams about each other absolutely changed as well. And as that all happened, the synergy of these two teams came together and they were more effective at absolutely selling and delivering that product, which means that the end user, the customer, also now saw an additional value in the currency that was being sold. So, what I'm saying to you is that when we get off of expectations, I'm no longer managing my expectations of you, whether we're talking about professionally or personally, and I am now managing a promise. We have an agreement. We are both looking at the same picture. Then the increase in currency is going to absolutely be more valuable than it was when we were playing the game differently.
Yeah, and I imagine with expectations versus promises, if you've got promises or commitments, there's just more weight to that to hold them to it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because we now have an opportunity to be able to count on each other
Yeah, for sure.
and truly be dependent upon and absolutely deliver and do exactly what we said that we were going to do.
Well, smoking hot, man. I mean, I absolutely love this conversation too because I'm focused to raise the currency in professional and personal relationships. And I would do that by making commitments and promises and then holding to those commitments and promises.
Yeah, and when we are making agreements with people or gaining agreement from people and gaining a commitment or promise to deliver on that, the synergy of that is absolutely going to produce a whole lot more than any one of us could on our own, playing the game just as sales or just as operations, uh, just as a wife or a husband, just as two friends in a relationship. When we synergistically bring people together, they produce a whole lot more working together in agreement, in step, in harmony than any of them could do by themselves. So if you want to increase the value of the currency that you have in your relationships, I am absolutely, absolutely asking you to make a commitment to gain an agreement from the people in your life to very specific outcomes. And once that agreement has been made, a commitment to deliver whatever it is that you need to deliver in order for that currency to be more valuable is now the commitment that you must make to the relationship moving forward.
And you know what that day is. That's payday, Mr. Jones.
That's right, now, man. I'm talking about getting paid.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
So you heard it here on the edge with Mr. Jones.
All right, and if you are not getting paid out on the edge, you are taking a far too much risk.
Here we go now.